Hey y'all, it's Terri from Sisterhood of the Traveling Brush, and I'm coming with you to fix a problem. This piece, I'm pretty close because I want you to be able to see close up. I was happy with this piece whenever I finished it, but it was sitting in our display window in the front of the store when Hurricane Laura came and took our roof. So amazingly, it still looks pretty dang good on the outside. Of course, I can wax and fix up any of this, but let me show you where the real problem's at. I have a couple of problems, but the fixable problem we're fixing to talk about is this here. The other problem is I don't like this after I did it. So I got this bright color in there, and that's what I wanted. Then I went over and dark waxed it to age it, and now I feel like it looks dirty. So we're gonna put probably 3 coats of this Dixie Belle Moonshine Metallics and Steel Magnolia in there, and we'll fancy up the inside. Part of that is this is a coffee bar, or it used to be a wine bar, but it's gonna be a coffee bar. And because it's in an enclosed thing and I don't want to install a light in there and do all that, it needs to be in a brighter, lighter color when you open it so that you can see everything good. And we replaced the broken parts that were here and put in holes that fit pods. But that's not what we're here for today. What I wanted to show you today is this. I can see straight through to the pine boards right now, and I pulled off as much of this. It was like a veneer. But at this point, what the contractor's wife and me wants to do is go get a heat gun, heat this up really good. This feels like a fabric tape or something. But anyways, get a heat gun and heat that to weaken the adhesive and possibly scrape it off. What the furniture painter in me, who likes to get crap done and over with, wants to do is make it look like wood again. Well, neither one of those are my options right now. My option is I'm going to cover this as smooth as I can cover it using Dixie mud, and you could use drywall compound or whatever you have. I'm going to use a smaller little spatula to put it on and try to even it out somewhat with this larger one, but make this as smooth as you can make it. Just know that you can come back and sand at the end and sand it back off. Don't stress yourself to the max over it. This is the stuff they put on your drywall whenever they're putting it in your house to finish it, to cover the seams and stuff like that. So we're gonna get some on here. And this one, the Dixie mud comes in brown, black, or white. And I probably could have done this with brown, lightly sanded, and then not had to do anything else. But for one, I had this one open already. But for two, I'm thinking that I might, since we're gonna go with a solid color with the Moonshine Metallics on the inside there, I'm thinking of putting a decoupage paper or something like that here at the top to be the little pop of something special when you open it. What you normally would do if you were a drywaller would be to, oh, what do they call it? Not bleed, but I can't think of the word, menopause brain again, would be to go from a thicker right here at this joint and sort of just, if you know the word, tell me the word because it's going to drive me crazy. But you sort of blend it, feather it out. You sort of just feather it out and get it thinner and thinner and thinner to where it evens out. We're putting on a lot, and then I'm going to come spread it out a little better with the bigger one because I just didn't feel, and this is a bad thing I'm doing as far as double dipping. I should have took some out and put it in something, and to not be touching on the surface of my furniture and then back in my little container here. But I'm going to use it, I think I'm going to use it all anyways. But I'm going to let this dry overnight and then come back and decide where to go from there. So I got a good bit of mud on here. Right now, the first thing we're doing is just making sure that it's all over the whole surface. And if we were trying to just blend this in and go from this hump down to this and smooth it out, by the time you got to this edge, there would hardly be any of the mud left on your spatula or on your piece. But because I'm wanting this to be possibly a good flat decoupage paper or something like that. I'm trying to use some of the new Dixie Belle rice papers on here. So I want the whole thing, I don't want the wood underneath it. I want this drywall under, mud under it. This is probably, depending on how thick you put it, it is dry anywhere from, you know, an hour to 3 hours or whatever. But because I'm putting it on pretty thick, especially in some areas, I'm definitely gonna leave it overnight. And these come in metal or plastic. And I used to want the metal ones because, you know, I thought they were more professional. But they rust. This stuff sticks on them. And all that. And I like the plastic ones. And I have the Dixie Belle one that I use all the time, but I also have this set, and I think I got these at Dollar Tree, y'all, and it came with like 3, the regular size one, this larger one, and this smaller one. So that's a tip too that would have been, I'm not gonna go much thicker here, and it's not very thicker, we wouldn't be able to see the wood through it, but trying to get back to that, that's why mudding drywall and such takes so long, is because today you put on a thin coat and you just bleed out so far, or blend out so far, feather out so far, and then tomorrow you come back and put a little bit more, thinner and carry out your feathering a little bit farther and a little bit farther, and the next day you come in, sand that a little bit, and really thinner skim coat back over it until you can hardly even tell that you've done it on the other end. I mean, it's not worth messing up your whole finish to be in a hurry. Just rinse this off with soap and water. Just gonna go around this bottom edge, and I'm gonna wait and get that off once it's dry, because I know if I get close enough to wipe all that off, that I'm gonna smear some on my original thing, and it's already, you know, starting to have less water in it and all that, starting to dry a little. So there you go. That's how you would work on the uneven surface. And this is, we will sand it slightly with a sanding sponge. You will just lightly sand it. This stuff's gonna come off like dust. Don't do it in a room where you got something sitting right there with wet paint or something like that, because it is gonna make some dust. So wear your mask or something if you don't wanna breathe it up. And who wants to breathe it up, right? But it just comes off like chalk. I mean, easy, like erasing on a chalkboard, and it'll get just as smooth as, you know, a baby's bottom. Then it's ready to paint. You know, I'll probably put some primer on it just because it's so absorbent, and I want whatever finish that I do put there to be even. I will probably put a primer on it, something like Boss or something like that, just to kind of seal it, or you could just seal it with some top coat or something and then put the decoupage on it. So there you go. I hope that was helpful, and I would love to see your projects. Bye.